It's $18 for a big bottle of this.
Is that a big bottle?
That's a very big bottle. Yeah,
That's a big bottle?
yeah. And it goes a long way. I mean, it does a little dab will do you.
Do you dilute it with water or no?
No, I don't dilute it at all. And so you can do. A swoosh. It doesn't smell particularly wonderful.
I don't smell it.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay. And so, you know, you do that, and then I just pour it right back in so I don't lose it. Quickly, I have to wash this.
oh, because it.
Because otherwise it will set up in my brush. And I will tell you that when you splatter paint on top of it, or put any kind of medium on top of it, you kind of need to take a wet rag and wipe that medium off of it before you start using your fingers to pull it up. Because I've found that what happens is, like say you have ink or watercolor on it, it gets on your fingers and then it smears. So if you want a nice clean masking of it, you need to go back in and wipe off this. Are you following me?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you actually peel that off, is that?
So I actually peel it off with my finger like this.
Okay.
So it's already dry?
No, yeah, it is already.
It's fast.
Most of it's already
very
dry.
fast drying, huh?
Still wet.
Yeah, there's still some wetness. But when you do, no, when you're ready to do it, and so you might have some paint on top of it. Like, can you grab that piece I'm working on, Mary? Little red marks. Well, if I pull it up and I don't get rid of the red marks, the red marks will get on my finger and it'll just smear.
But do
And
you
so-
always pull it up, or can't you just leave it?
You really wanted
No.
those red marks here.
Right.
And so that's why you wipe it up. And you just take a wet cloth.
Yeah, I just take a wet cloth and I just run it over this part
All right.
of where it is. So it's nice. Okay, so this is almost dry. Yeah, it's still shining. But then, you know, so then I'll do like dots of water. And then I'll take a brush and I'll just pick a color. Say, let's do red. Red is pretty good. And then I'll just fill the dots. Use red. Do like that. So constantly I'm thinking about, okay, this is the next layer. And it's kind of like in reverse because anything white you will have already established. And then anything else goes layers on top of it. So like this, I would, you know, run it around and move it around and get some dimension to it. Or I just leave the dollops to dry. This isn't going to be the greatest. You can also get them like super round.
Instead of water, just pure
Yeah,
water.
it's just pure water. And you can also make the bubbles even darker.
That's how you did this, the bubbles, and then
Yeah.
let it all run down.
Yeah.
Okay.
And let it run. So that's how I got that part of it. And of course, once it dries, then I outline it. So that's the other process for it. And then once this dries, I might take some tape and put tape over this and mask that, and then do another layer of something, interesting marks and stuff, and then I can pull up the tape, and then I can also pull up, see, as you see, it gets a bunch of water and stuff on it. And so, so then this piece of it will probably be the very last piece that I address, because it'll be the white in my piece, and I'll figure out, you know, do I want to make it solid? Do I want to put lines in it? Do I want to just splatter it? Do I want to mask this and do something really interesting, like drop a balloon on this, but it'll be, but everything else will be masked. So if I want to, I can like pull this up, and then whatever I've painted, I can take this masking, and I feel comfortable with this mask, that I can paint over whatever has been painted, and it won't get ripped up. You need to make sure that it's like bone dry though,
Yes.
because
The masking.
before you mask on top of any painted surface.
I,
I dropped the balloon on top of it and it splattered. And then I pulled up the mask, and then I put the lines in here.
How'd
And-
you do the line?
And I just, by hand, with these watercolor pens.
Okay.
Same thing with the writing. I use the watercolor pens. And what's great about them is, like, I also use some sponge on some of that areas. So the writing was kind of blurred and stuff. It wasn't
But
all
in
the
here
same.
are the spills.
Yeah, and those are the spills. And this one, so the progression for this one was, I did the mask, and then what I did was I put in wide tape here, okay? And
Over the mask.
on top of the mask. I put wide tape on here. Then I painted the background with the different colors. Then I put the small tape in these colored areas on top of that. And then I wrote on top of that, pulled the small tape up.
Oh wait, I don't
You see
understand
how
about the small tape.
the text is very linear. You see the text has this.
Oh, you wrote on
kinda-
top of it, not on top, not literally on top, but
Can't
above,
read it because
above the tape.
Yeah, some of it goes over.
Well,
She just
no,
wrote-
over the tape.
Yeah.
I just,
I got it.
yeah.
And then you just pulled it up, and that's what was left. Okay.
I've gotta wipe this up, be careful.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's like layers. It's like, okay, what's the next layer? What's
I like
the
the
next
writing.
layer? Yeah, and then when all of this was, then I covered this. I guess this got a lot more complicated than I realized.
It looks complicated.
So, so this was first. Then I put down blue tape. Then I painted the colors, like the blue and the red and the yellow and the green across. Then I put down the small tape right here, and then I wrote over it with different colors.
You didn't take away the blue tape first, though.
No.
Oh, no.
No. And then, so then after I did that, I left the little white tape, okay? And I pulled this up, so I knew where I was. And then I put blue tape on top of this to preserve this, so that when I dropped color and I did like this, it would stay out of this, okay? And then I pulled all the tape off and kind of did sponging and a little bit of splatter and stuff.
What about the circles here down in this corner?
The circles were just like on top of everything.
You just drew them.
Well, I have
Circle.
drew them like this, and that's with a Sharpie, and I just added the color in.
When you literally dropped color on it, what did you use?
See, I did, you can put color in this and drop color like that.
Okay.
Or you can, I find that I can control the amount of color a little easier if I drop it into the water. It's just, it's just one way or the
But
other.
didn't you splash this with something? How did you do that? Well, you got all that.
On this one, how did I
Yes,
splash
yes.
it? I went like that. I just flicked it.
Okay.
And that, I didn't do a
Just
lot
used
of
a
that.
brush and did
Yeah,
that. Okay.
yeah, just kind of did that.
It's very,
Is there any blue tape left on here that you left, or you always take your blue tape off?
I always take the blue tape off.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was a series of taping and pulling off and then painting and then taping more.
It's interesting that something that looks so spontaneous has so much planning and forethought
Yeah.
and technique in it, right? And so,
Yeah, it's funny when you start explaining stuff. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess there was a bit put into that. Yeah, because I spend a lot of time in my head. It's done with a balloon. I blow the balloon up first because I've learned that if you fill it up with ink and you try to blow it, it's all over your mouth.
Then you put your evening dress on.
Yes, yes, sparkles.
a white
So I blow it up and I get a little stretched, and then I take one of these little babies and fill it with either ink or watercolor or whatever. Generally ink, because ink is works better on the splatter stuff.
You put that much ink, like a full bottle of that?
No. I probably put this much ink in it, that much, and then I put it into the balloon, and then I put a little bit of water in it because if it's too concentrated, then it won't splatter as much. Then I blow the balloon up, and then I hang it from the ceiling at a certain height, and it's very still, and I put the painting underneath, and then I have a stick with a X-Acto knife, and I pop it, and it splatters.
So you,
That's how it works.
so you don't throw it, huh?
Huh?